What if all electricity disappeared forever? No lights, no phones, no internet, no machines. Overnight, our modern world would fall back into darkness. Imagine sitting at home when suddenly every bulb goes dark. Your phone screen dies. Cars stop working. Airplanes in the sky lose power. The entire planet is thrown into silence. Not for an hour, not for a day, but forever. Electricity isn't just about comfort. It is the heartbeat of civilization. It powers hospitals, connects economies, and even keeps food fresh. Without it, life as we know it would vanish in an instant. But what would really happen next? Would humanity adapt and return to old ways? Or would society collapse into chaos? Before we dive deeper into this thought experiment, make sure to subscribe for more mind-bending, what-if stories that will change the way you see the world.
Oh my gosh,
What was that?
a power outage.
The first moments after electricity disappears would be pure chaos. Within seconds, entire cities would plunge into darkness. Skyscrapers, once glowing with lights, would stand as silent shadows in the night. Streets would be pitch black, traffic lights dead, cars frozen mid-road. The modern heartbeat of civilization would stop instantly. Airplanes in mid-flight would lose all systems. Some would crash, leaving chaos across the skies. Subways deep underground would stall, trapping passengers in the dark. Hospitals where life depends on electricity would become places of despair as ventilators, monitors, and surgical equipment all shut down. At home, people would reach for their phones, only to find lifeless black screens. No way to call loved ones, no internet, no information. Panic would spread faster than wildfire. Within hours, confusion would turn into fear. The silence would feel unnatural. No hum of machines, no buzz of lights, no sound of engines. For the first time in centuries, the world would return to the sound of nature. The wind, the water, and human voices filled with uncertainty. In those first hours, humanity would realize a terrifying truth. Without electricity, our world is far more fragile than we ever imagined. Within days of losing electricity, survival would become humanity's greatest challenge. Grocery stores, once filled with food, would empty in hours. Refrigerators would fail, leaving meat, milk, and vegetables to rot. Without power, massive food storage systems would collapse, triggering a global hunger crisis. Clean drinking water would vanish next. Electric pumps that supply cities would stop working. People would be forced to carry buckets from rivers and wells, just like in ancient times. In many places, the water wouldn't even be safe, leading to disease outbreaks. Transportation would grind to a halt. Without power, gas stations couldn't pump fuel. Cars, trains, and ships would stop. Air travel would be gone forever. The entire global supply chain, food, medicine, clothing, would break within days. At night, streets would turn into complete darkness. No street lights, no lamps, only the flicker of candles and fire. Fear of theft, violence, and desperation would rise. People would form small groups and communities for protection. The younger generation, born into the digital world, would struggle the most. No internet, no games, no phones. Life would feel unbearable. Humanity would suddenly realize how much we depended on a force we could no longer bring back. With electricity gone forever, the modern world would collapse into something that looks like the Middle Ages. Skyscrapers, once filled with glowing lights, would stand as dark, empty monuments of a forgotten age. Silent cities would slowly be swallowed by nature, vines crawling up towers, animals wandering freely where traffic once ruled. People would return to the oldest forms of survival, farming, hunting, and trading. Families would grow their own food. Communities would gather around rivers. and survival would depend on physical strength and knowledge of the land. Blacksmiths, farmers, and carpenters would once again become the most important people in society. Without machines, wars would look completely different. No drones, no tanks, no fighter jets, only swords, horses, and manpower. Humanity would be forced to relive the battles of the past, where courage and skill mattered more than technology. Art, culture, and storytelling would rise again. With no screens to distract, people would sit around fires, sharing tales, music, and wisdom, just like ancient tribes once did. Ironically, humanity would rediscover the value of community, connection, and survival instincts. The question is, would this throwback make us stronger, or would it end civilization as we know it? After the shock and struggle, humanity would begin to adapt. Without electricity, innovation wouldn't stop. It would simply transform. People would rediscover ancient wisdom while mixing it with creativity to survive. Water wheels, windmills, and solar heat would power small villages in simple but effective ways. Cities might shrink, but communities would grow stronger. Instead of being strangers in crowded apartments, people would know their neighbors, share resources, and build trust. Villages would be lit by firelight and starlight, creating a beauty we have forgotten in the glow of neon. Education would change too. Instead of learning through screens, children would grow up exploring nature, learning crafts, survival skills, and wisdom passed down through generations. The earth itself would become the classroom. And while life would be harder, it might also be purer. No more endless noise, no glowing ads, no constant scrolling, just real connections, real challenges, and real triumphs. Humanity would stand at the edge of a new chapter, building a civilization not on wires and circuits, but on unity, resilience, and balance with the planet. The big question remains, could we truly thrive in such a world? Or is electricity too deeply tied to our survival? If electricity disappeared forever, humanity would live in a constant tug-of-war between gains and losses. On one hand, our environment would finally breathe. No more power plants releasing smoke, no more light pollution hiding the stars, no more electronic waste piling up in oceans. Nights would be darker, but skies would be more beautiful. Galaxies stretching across the horizon like ancient paintings. On the other hand, the cost would be heavy. Medical technology would vanish. Surgeries, ventilators, vaccines stored in freezers, all gone. Lifespans would shorten, and diseases once defeated could return. Communication would collapse. No instant messages, no satellites, no way to connect across oceans in seconds. Wars could rise again, not with drones and jets, but with raw survival and limited resources. And yet, in this fragile balance, humanity would discover its raw strength. We would write again by candlelight, travel under the stars, and invent new ways to power the future without ever plugging into a socket. Perhaps this what if reminds us that electricity is both a blessing and a burden. Proof that with great power comes great responsibility. Because in the end, God created everything perfectly, with purpose, even the sparks that light up our world. If you enjoyed this journey into a world without electricity, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more what-if stories that open your mind to the impossible.